Go ahead and clap it up for the Ukraine guys. I'm just gonna be completely honest here. I didn't expect for this to happen. Like nothing in me said that this was even going to truthfully be an option. From coming specifically coming from a force that is absolutely weakened and being threatened by an overwhelming force. Okay, I did not expect for this type of thing to happen here, guys. Did they build these drones? Number one, did someone else give them these drones? Right? Was this some type of collaborative joint venture? Keep in mind, Zelensky also came to the Oval Office, and what did he tell us, guys? We got, we're safe over here, right? We're not over there where all the wars seem to consistently happen, right? You get what I'm saying here, right? We're not over there, so we're safe over here. So of course, it doesn't matter to us at the same level that it would matter to other people that are closer to the region. I get that, bro. I hear you, Zelensky. But nothing in me said that this was even going to truthfully be a thing. But let's go ahead and see where this goes here, because I feel like pretty much based off of what Putin's proxy basically said pretty recently on Twitter, saying that WW3 is absolutely not off the table. If you knew that, and Zelensky basically came to the White House, pointing out the fact that everything is safe, and then we get it. Putin is not, under any circumstance, let's say, going to live up to his word. Every single time they sit down for any type of peace talks, meetings, either he just doesn't come, and then he immediately annihilates more people, guys, right? I get that, bro. He's not someone who should be trusted at all, ex-KGB, et cetera, et cetera. I think that in itself should, for the most part, define him, for you guys who may not know what that is, him specifically, let's say, he's cloak and dagger, right? Anything he says, believe the exact opposite of it. But here's the problem, guys, all right? Here's the problem. I don't know. I mean, obviously, if you're being brutally attacked, bro, you should be able to defend yourself. Absolutely. But if you can't defend yourself and you utilize someone else's weapons to defend yourself, could that other entity, let's say, be brought into something that they specifically did not sign on to? I don't know. But I'm guessing we'll find this out within the next couple of days here, guys. We're definitely going to follow the story, kind of no matter what here. Name of the video is a kind of a Trojan horse. Ex-NATO commander reacts to a drone attack deep inside of Russia. This is a suggestion via channel member. Let's check it out. Let's do it, guys.
Ukrainian and Russian delegations are in Istanbul for peace talks. The real story, though, this unprecedented and audacious drone attack by Ukraine on Russian airfields and bombers. Ukraine attacked bases deep inside Russia, thousands of miles from the front lines, in what they're calling Operation Spiderweb. Ukrainian officials said that dozens of Russian warplanes were destroyed. Let's get right to CNN chief international correspondent Nick Payton-Walsh. This is quite a backdrop for these talks, which take place shortly, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely startling, the sophistication of this raid. One of these air bases hits almost halfway across Siberia. The Ukrainian security service able to use mobile wooden homes. Essentially, the roofs of them seem to have opened up and allowed these clouds of drones remotely piloted to target some of Russia's most important long-range strategic bombers. 41 damaged, according to Ukraine's security service, at air bases that must have thought they were basically far enough away.
Oh, yeah, they thought they were safe.
Impregnable. Ukraine very keen to announce that all the people involved in this year-and-a-half-long operation have since left the country. And yet another sign of how Ukraine's able to use its outsized use of technology to inflict significant damage on Russia's enormous military, something which, frankly, Kiev has always felt would be impregnable, but is increasingly showing its vulnerability over time. What does this mean? We don't know exactly what damage it's going to do to the nightly horrors inflicted on Ukrainian civilians.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be worse. Period. Like, I don't think that there's any other option for it other than that. Literally, it's just going to get worse now. Generally, the bully in itself does not want the person that they're harassing thoroughly, let's say, to ever stick up or stand up for themselves. And this is exactly what's going on here. It's interesting that they definitely use some, like, Helena Troy-esque, way to actually, enter within the country in some manner. I'm guessing some type of truck or something, guys. Or maybe like a spy, guys. I don't know how this happened here, but congratulations on this, on this this gigantic thing, and it definitely seems like they've been working on it for a really, really long time, guys.
By these long-range bombers, some of them indeed were old enough they were still using propellers, but it's another sign that Ukraine is able to sometimes upset the balance. And as you mentioned too, a remarkable backdrop for these talks in Istanbul. Here's what Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky at a NATO summit in Vilnius had to say.
Yesterday, he said,
Europe, together with America, has better weapons than Russia. We also have stronger tactical solutions. Our operation Spiderweb yesterday proved that. Russia must feel what its losses mean. That is what will push it toward diplomacy. And when Russia takes losses in this war, it's obvious to everyone that Ukraine is the one holding the line, not just for itself, but for all of Europe.
We'll find out. We'll find out in the next couple of days, guys.
There with a bit of a spring in his step, frankly. A long needed boost to Ukrainian morale, suffered so badly after that Oval Office blow-up with President Donald Trump. Does this change Russia's thinking? Well, many felt these peace talks in Istanbul were another example of Moscow's slow rolling, a peace process that had very minimal interest in seeing lead to a ceasefire. But it may make the Kremlin begin to wonder if surprises like this come along frequently enough, how long they can sustain this conflict, and it may do practical damage to their war effort too, John. So a remarkable weekend. I should point out too, record number of drones launched by Russia over the weekend, and a startling number taken out by Ukraine's electronic warfare too. So technology increasingly on Ukraine's side, John.
Yeah, Ukraine very much trying to increase the costs on Russia and what impact that could have on discussions going forward. Nick Payton.
Yeah, not just the cost on Russia, guys.
Payton Walsh for us. Thank you, Nick.
Let's get more now on these major developments. With us now is Admiral James Stavridis. He is a CNN senior military analyst and former NATO Supreme Allied Commander. Also, CNN senior political commentator and former Congressman Adam Kinzinger. He's also a former member of the House Armed Services and Foreign Affairs Committee and served in the Air National Guard. Good to see both of you. Thank you so much. Congressman, you first. Do you think this is a game changer or of some other significance that Ukraine could pull this off?
Yeah, look, this is a huge deal. This is, I would actually say this is right there with when Ukraine had their very successful counteroffensive. Keep in mind, we've recently had, the President of the United States say that Ukraine doesn't hold any cards. This is cards. This is a serious amount of cards. I
agree with the president in this context here. I don't really think that they hold much cards here. The thing is that they obviously, they hit him with $7 billion worth of damage. That obviously means something, right? But I'm telling you, bro, I don't know. Like, look at the size of Russia. And David and Goliath, I'm guessing this is one of these scenarios here, but I don't think that, guys. I don't think so, guys.
By the way, potentially taking out a third of Russia's bomber force is what this could potentially be, is a hit like no other. And keep in mind, Ukraine is actually winning this war as a defending country. All you have to do to win is keep defending until the attacker runs out of combat power.
That's valid.
At the beginning of the full-scale invasion, Russia occupied 30% of Ukraine. Today, it's 18%. They've lost 1 million men, casualties in that process, and now potentially a third of their bomber force. This is a really big deal. Potentially going into negotiations, and keep in mind, up until this point, Russia's been attacking indiscriminately civilian targets in Ukraine all week, all month, and frankly, the entire war.
Okay.
So, Admiral, what does this say about Ukraine's, is it heightened intelligence gathering, or is it a new directive or strategy?
Yeah. Intelligence gathering. Other countries are helping them.
It's all the above, and I'll add a couple. It is a clever tactic. What they did was put these drones, quadcopter drones, into trucks. They got them deep inside Russia. A way to think about these strikes, this would be like launching from Washington, D.C. and attacking targets in Los Angeles. Russia's a huge country, largest in the world. These strikes are at distance, exactly as Congressman, and by the way, you left out his most important credential for this conversation. He's an Air Force pilot, so he really understands the air distance equation and how remarkable this is. So, Fred, put together the unmanned technology, the intelligence of the locations, and the military savvy to load it on trucks, get it across this vast country, launch it at scale and at distance. I think it's a remarkable strike. I'm Greek American, so I've got to give you this. It's kind of the Trojan horse. It's these wooden crates that got pushed into the country, and suddenly sprouting forth from it are these warriors destroying all of these planes, none of them human beings. It's really quite a remarkable military feat.
So then, Congressman, clearly Ukraine is likely preparing for some sort of retaliation, but at the same time, what does this kind of successful, attack from their standpoint do to the morale for Ukrainian fighters?
Oh, it just boosted it massively.
This is huge for Ukrainian
morale.
morale.
Oh, yeah. This is a win for them.
Devastating for Russian morale. Now, keep in mind in this process, we're going to see, so Ukraine is going to see how Russia responds to this. They've seen how Russia does or does not, in this case, does not defend their military bases, and they're going to adjust from that. There likely could be many more attacks like this, kind of on the perch, ready to go in Russia. And now all of a sudden, Russia has had to go from defending its air bases and its military stuff, basically, within 500 or 1,000 kilometers of the front line, to the entire amount of Russia. And keep in mind, they're already almost out of air defense as it is. They had to move almost all their air defenses to Moscow just to defend their parade. So this is a big deal. And for Americans, it's important to remember this. We have a choice. We can either help Ukraine defend itself, and if we do, we'll have a bit of a say in how Ukraine defends itself. If we don't, Ukraine's got to do what they can do. And again, it's important to keep in mind, every one of these targets today was a legitimate, under the rule of war, legitimate target for Ukraine to strike. What you will see in the Russian response is an attack on schools, on hospitals, on civilian infrastructure, because that's what Russia does. Ukraine fights fair, Russia goes after civilians.
And then now, Admiral, all of this taking place, on the eve, give or take a few days of, this meeting that is supposed to be taking place in Turkey between Russia and Ukrainian representatives. How might this either change the dynamic, apply more pressure, or might it mean a complete retreat from even having talks like this, meaning Russia retreating?
I wouldn't be surprised to see the Russians put a freeze on things. On the other hand, more
they
likely
thought they were
they're
in
trying
control.
to brazen their way through it and say, we caught all the people who did this. There'll be a bunch of round up the usual suspect operations. Ukraine, by the way, was very careful to point out that everybody involved in this is already back in Ukraine, so anybody you arrest, Russia, is wrong. I believe that, frankly. And
I wouldn't believe that.
And secondly, again, the innovation on display here, I think, is really what you have to focus on. And so I would say the talks probably freeze momentarily, then they'll move forward. Hey, final thought for you as I watch this, as a former Supreme Allied Commander of NATO, people ask me a lot, hey, do we really want to take Ukraine into the alliance? When this war is over, this is going to be a country manufacturing 2 million, maybe 3 million drones a year. They'll have the most highly blooded, motivated military force on the continent. Do we want them on Team NATO? Man, I do.
Okay, I don't think so. All right, so guys, we're going to go ahead and this guy here, specifically the last guy, I think his age is showing pretty heavily here. He's absolutely impressed by drone technology. He seems not to understand how drones function. The concept of transmission also, he doesn't understand any of these things. He's in shock and awe that a device, quadcopter that has a camera and global positioning systems built into it, and then some type of transmission device, let's say, guessing satellite. Okay, he's in shock and awe that exists. It's existed for a little over a decade now, guys. I am a drone pilot, Part 107 license specifically here. I understand there are some people who just don't know, right? But it's not that impressive how they did it. Specifically, the impressive part is that they did it. I did not expect at all under any circumstance for them to kind of hit back in such a massive way, specifically so late in this in the game here, let's say. But I'm definitely glad that they are standing up for themselves. Absolutely here. Now the NATO question here. I don't know, why are we bringing them into NATO? Why? Like, you just want to poke the bear, bro? Like, you're dealing with someone specifically who just completely hates the concept of the Ukraine having any type of like serious protection. So if you bring the Ukraine into NATO, they can no longer do anything. You're looking at the end of Russia, basically. Bring the Ukraine into NATO, Russia will be gone as it is, let's say, in 2 decades. Like, no more. Because basically, what's Putin really fighting for here? Right? Like, what is he really fighting for? My perception, at least, is this here. I think Putin is going to fight to the very end, period here. I don't think that there's really any other option for him. Him quitting this for what? It's an issue that people in the Ukraine speak, a good bit of Russian, right? They understand Russian. They also are fighting, towards democracy. Do you think Russia, or specifically Putin, really wants other individuals that have the ability to completely, speak Russian and speak to the population of Russia to stop allowing, someone like him to rain terror on people for over 2 decades? You get what I'm saying here, guys? All right. Fake elections and things like that. What happens when Russia wakes up, for the most part, and says, you know what? Hey, listen, the Ukraine may be right. You see what I'm saying here? Russia is not going to stop, bro. Like Putin, he's not going to stop. I can't imagine it. Why would he? Again, this is now an ideology issue. All right. I mean, Crimea is one thing, obviously, right? But it's an ideology issue. It's pitiful, guys. Pitiful. They do not, under any circumstance, want their way of life to no longer be the way of life. They don't want it, guys. But all right, I mean, that's just my perception here, guys. I mean, let me know if you think I'm kind of off the mark here, guys. But that's just kind of where I'm at specifically on this here. The usage of drones and some type of like O4 transmission system or something like that was smart. I mean, I think in this modern day and age, I mean, that pretty much almost everyone has access to these things. If you can afford to buy it, you have access to it. Period. And again, he's just shocked, and he's just in shock and awe that drones exist for some reason. But all right. Again, I mean, don't get me wrong here. I mean, my opinion is almost exclusively based on the fact that I literally own 7 drones, guys, and like I don't know. I'm not impressed by it, but I'm sure there are other people who have just never touched them or never seen them in person and things like that. And that could be the reason why he's just so impressed by it. The technology has been available for years, bro. And if you're a high level government official, you should be attempting to utilize some of that technology to do similar things, right? Save the manpower type of thing. You know what I mean? And the U.S. Army the U.S. military in general, they are using drones. So what are you so impressed by? I don't know, guys. Either way, listen. Okay, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. In the meantime, I'll catch you guys later, all right?